Now look, moving to Puerto Rico sounds like a dream. But there are some realities people don't find out until it's too late. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. So before you make that move, we're talking about everything. And I mean everything. Cost of living, school, safety, where to live, the biggest mistakes people make. And yeah, even that gringo go home conversation. If you're new here, I'm Jade with Getting to the Black, where I give you the real on what it's like living here in Puerto Rico. Let's get it. So, this is everything you need to know before moving to Puerto Rico. And one of the common questions I always get asked is before moving to Puerto Rico, what should you know overall? And I'm going to tell you there's a lot to break down, and I have a whole playlist on multiple things you need to know before moving to Puerto Rico. But I'm going to answer this question really simple for you. I want you to understand the landscape that is here. It's a very strong Puerto Rican culture. Puerto Rico is a great place to live and a great place to build family. And if you're a hustler coming out here to build a business, this is a place where you can come to thrive. You got to be open minded, but you got to also understand it's not easy here. Don't come here thinking you can come with $1 and a dream. Because unlike the mainland, there's a lot of things you lose when you come here. One of those things is going to be your support system that you probably have back home, whether it's friends or families. Unless you have friends or family already built here in Puerto Rico, it's going to be really hard for you. And I would say that probably is the hardest thing about transitioning here is finding a community that you can really rely on and lean on. Um, I feel like we've been able to build that over the last couple of years. But if you're somebody who comes here without any resources, you're probably going to really need the support of your community. So I would not advise it. I always want to remind people that there's a reason why so many Puerto Ricans left Puerto Rico. It is beautiful here. It's a lot of culture, so rich in culture, great people. Some great people. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But overall, I think the experience is really dope. But reminder again, there's a reason why people left. Okay? Just keep that always in mind. And then if you're coming here not as a tourist, but to actually live, it's a great place to come to. It's a great place. Just make sure that you're prepared and you check in with somebody who lives here. That's the best thing I say. Try to see if you could develop some type of support system before you move here. And if you want to connect with me, you can always hit me up on Instagram. And speaking about community, like one thing you can do that a lot of people ask me about is like, how do you build community here as newcomers? And I talked about it in one of my videos before. One of the main things I can say is definitely get a WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a way that everyone builds community. Looking at social media first to try to get connections with people. Like, I mean, if you're watching this video again, hit me up because I will help get you tapped in, especially if you're with the Black community. We have a very strong community here. So if you're African American, Black, from anywhere across the diaspora, but you just identify with the diaspora, this is the place. We got a connection. We got a place for you to tap in at. And when it comes to if you're like a woman with children, man, single, you can really find any type of groups on WhatsApp. But the hard thing about WhatsApp is you got to kind of know these groups exist. So you got to know somebody to get in. And that's the one thing about here with Puerto Rico. It's very like community based and connection based. So you really got to tap into people, but you could definitely go to like different organizations or groups. There is so much you can do. A lot of people are also on Facebook. So if you're looking for Facebook groups or you're looking for groups or community organizations, check out Facebook and just like type in Puerto Rico and just look at the different things that they have to offer. I don't know of any groups or anything that will help you like transition or settle in. So like I keep saying, just tap in with someone, whether it's myself or anybody else, just so that you can make sure that you stay connected. And one thing I think you really need to know that most people tend to overlook is how important culture is to Puerto Ricans. They love their culture, they love their heritage, but you also have to understand here. I'm probably going to get more into that later when we get into the Gringo Go Home discussion. But you have to understand the landscape here and that Puerto Ricans are already very proud of their culture. So, and at this moment, they do feel like there is an influx of people from the mainland or from the States coming over to Puerto Rico. But I feel like for Puerto Ricans, they have had so much of their culture and things stolen from them, gentrification for years, all kinds of different things that, like, a lot of what they fear is warranted and it makes a lot of sense. I do feel like at times it is very displaced, and that's where the xenophobia sometimes come in, But at the same time, you just need to understand that is a true and real sentiment that's here in Puerto Rico. It's not fake and it's not just online propaganda. I would say that most people feel more comfortable expressing themselves online, but what you need to understand is that you might not be able to see everybody's online behavior when you meet them, right? You're not going to be instantly friends with them on Instagram and be following and stalking every comment they make. But you have to understand that when you see those radicalized pages, some of those people are in society. So just beware and be cautious of the things that you share with people when you're here. And that's something that you should know before moving to Puerto Rico. Something else that's commonly asked, I get a lot of people who are like single, rather single moms and things like that, who are asking me questions. And I'm going to be honest, it's kind of hard for me to answer those questions because I did not move here as a single person. I came here with my partner and we had children later while already living here. So that is a very different story for us. But I can't say this: if you are somebody who is single, you got a teen or anything like that, and you want to know about like challenges and stuff, we are coming up with a podcast. And what we'll do is make sure that we have people who can answer these questions for you. But as far as like the education system, because I do have kids, they're not school age yet, but education is something that is important to me and my husband. Like, we have multiple degrees, so education is really important to us. So when we were moving here, we kind of looked into the education system and comparing it to the States. It's just as bad, which sounds bad. You would think, I feel like some people think that Puerto Rico is worse. And I will say it's worse as compared to who are you comparing it to? Because not education across the states is not all the same. So you definitely can find communities that are better in Puerto Rico compared to the states. But one thing I can say is that in the states, if you try hard enough, you can find a public school program that is great, right? But in Puerto Rico, to find a public school program, I haven't heard of any. Every parent has pretty much told me that you have to put your child into private school. And private school education here, is what I've been told. Again, my kids are not school age, so I haven't researched the cost of tuition myself, but I've been told that it's practically the cost of sending your child to college. What kind of college? I don't know, because college here in Puerto Rico is not as expensive as in the States. So I don't really know what people are comparing it to, but that's just what I've been told, is that it can be rather expensive. Our plan for our children is to homeschool our kids. I've been looking into different homeschool programs. Our kids will be starting in August. I will be starting with them. I found an online program that I want to start with them. And this is where a lot of people get things wrong about Puerto Rico. They think if you're coming from the States, it's some long transition period to establish residency here. And it really isn't. It's as simple as just going and getting a new ID. They treat it kind of similar to if you were just switching to from like California to like Vegas. Like, you're just changing a state. So it's not that complicated of a process. But when it does come to things such as securing an apartment, oh baby, this this is a whole topic, and I definitely have a video for you guys if you want to get into that. And remember, I always post everything in either the pinned comment or the description box. But securing an apartment, it's fairly simple here compared to, like, I'm from California. Compared to the process I have taken to get apartments in California, it was fairly easy here. They did, like, and plus we know our landlords, so for us, I guess it was a different process. I'm telling you, here in Puerto Rico, it's all about relationships that you establish. That is going to be your currency. That is going to be your gold. So when you first move here, you're probably going to have to transition to just somewhere. Um, if you want a full detailed story on what that looks like how we found our first apartment, like our first apartment story, let me know so I can do that. But like I said, I do have a video already on how to find an apartment in Puerto Rico. They do ask for, like, when we first got our first apartment, they did ask for like a background check. Did they? I don't even think they asked for a background check, but they asked for, was it they wanted to see our credit score, and I think we just showed them, like, Credit Karma. Like, it wasn't difficult. I'm gonna just tell you that it's not difficult to get things here. Um, and if you only live here part time, can you maintain residency? I would imagine it would be something similar, like, to living by coastal. And then just one place is your main residency. If you're talking about things in association to, like, some of the tax incentives that are here, you're going to have to talk to somebody who specializes in that. That's not really my forte. Here's one thing that a lot of people get wrong too in regards to the laws here. People think because it's the US territory that everything is the same as in the US. They are governed by a lot of the same federal laws, but they also have Spanish law still here too. Huh, crazy, right? So, there are differences in some of the legal things here. For example, I think the thing that stands out for us the most that we thought were crazy when we moved here, then when we found out, was that it is a no fault place, meaning if you get into a car accident, no one is at fault. So, being from California, I ain't gonna say we'd be like, oh, it's a paycheck if somebody hits you, but, like, usually you are gonna get some form of payout from the insurance company if you happen to be in a collision. I've never been in an accident in California and not received some form of money. But here, I was in an accident while I was pregnant, 9 months pregnant, like literally about to give birth soon. And we got into a car accident and I didn't get anything. I didn't, and then the process was so, oh my gosh. It was a terrible, terrible process. Let me just say that. So this is the good part, the part that people love because they know it is so much land and beautifulness here in Puerto Rico. So a lot of people like to know about buying land and building property here in Puerto Rico, and farming and all of these kind of homestead stuff. That ain't me. Oh, that is not my forte, guys. So what I will do though is I will leave some resources for you guys for some people. Like, I have a friend named Karina. She has a social media platform, like she's on Instagram. And she has, I think she calls it a homestead, but basically she has a farm and things like that. She sells her duck eggs and chicken eggs and duck meat and all this kind of stuff. I love when she has some goodies because I'll be like, oh, let's get this fresh stuff because I like to eat it, but I ain't about to farm it. You know what I mean? So, so if you're somebody who's looking to move here and that's the kind of lifestyle you want to live, I would definitely say tap in with her. And the cool thing about being here in Puerto Rico is it does kind of promote a lot of self sufficiency when it comes to relying on your own means to provide things. And what I mean is by, like, having your house be able to collect rainwater, having a cistern so that you can store water, um, things such as a generator or some type of, or solar power, like some type of way to provide electricity to your house. Because I will tell you this, there is infrastructure here, but it's very poor. So meaning it's not like when you go to a third world country and those places probably don't even have electricity or running water. Like, you have that here, but it's inconsistent. Like, I could be in the middle of doing this video right now and my electricity would just turn off. And that is normal occurrences here. So it is really good to be self-sufficient. So if you're already kind of thinking in that lifestyle, you will do great living here. This right here is the common most thing people ask me. They want to know, do they need a car when they live here in Puerto Rico? Especially my people who be coming from places like New York. Y'all want to know, do I need a whip out here? And I will say, if you're living in San Juan, it's not 100% necessary. We did not have a vehicle for the first year of us living here. And we were still able to catch rides with people, do carpool, rent cars, Uber. I think they have Lyft now. There's a lot of options if you're within the metro area. But if you're somebody who wants to explore and go out, you are going to have to figure out how to get transportation. And especially so if you live outside of San Juan, oh, you definitely going to need to have some form of transportation. This is one that people are always wanting to know, like, is Puerto Rico safe? And I did a video where I kind of addressed this as well, the safety concerns here in Puerto Rico. And are there some? And most definitely there are. And I mean, as for women, they do have things in place to help be protective of women. But I will say, I mean, it's like living anywhere else. As a woman, you always got to keep your head on the swivel. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Now, let's talk about a specific place that people commonly want to know about, and that is a Rincón. People ask me what it's like living in Rincón. What's the lifestyle? Do you need a car? You know, all that good stuff. I'm gonna be honest, for Rincón, I've only been there to visit. Needless to say, what I have heard about Rincón is that it's cool. As far as like a car, I would imagine you would need a car in Rincón because when we were out there, we definitely needed a car. We didn't try to catch an Uber or anything because we had to drive over there. So that's going to be very different for us. As far as like grocery stores and things, I would say all of Puerto Rico is kind of built the same. Every place you go to, like these little neighborhoods, they all kind of have like access to foods and things like that in your neighborhood. That is like why it's really cool to live here, like, because they really did think about community-based things when they were building infrastructure here. So that you definitely will be able to get to that. And as far as like for farming or raising animals, as far as what I know about Rincon is it's known for its beaches and its surfing. And it's kind of like San Juan in the fact that like a lot of tourist people will go over there too. So I don't know. I don't really know it for farming and things like that. So let's get into the realness. Let's get into the stuff that you really need to know and be prepared for. So this cost of living, it's hard to really compare it to different places. I've done a whole video on the cost of living in Puerto Rico. So I'm going to be sure to tag that video. But cost of living is, I mean, it's less expensive than living in like New York or California. So just take that for whatever that might mean to you. It's less expensive than that, especially when you're talking about like rent. Sometimes groceries is probably at the same price point. Utilities here are rather expensive too. So like you're definitely going to want to watch my cost of living video so you can get full insight and the full breakdown on that. And then as far as like essentials you need to set up before arriving, that's a good question because I definitely, when we moved here, we didn't set up any essentials. Like we literally moved here and didn't even have an apartment first. I would not suggest getting an apartment before you move here unless you came to see that apartment in person or you have somebody you really trust who is very smart to go look at that place before you move in. And I will only say that because there's scams here. Like pictures don't really tell you what a place really looks like. And people will take photos from different angles just to kind of get you. So I would definitely say look into like getting some form of like short-term housing first and then transition into a longer term situation before moving here. As far as other essentials, I would probably say like a some type of power source. Like if you could have like a battery pack for your phone, that would be golden. Some type of fan you can use that works off of batteries. Like you gotta, or and flashlights. Okay, flashlights. You're gonna need that. Just these are just in case, like when you move here and the power goes out. And I say that because when we moved here, literally day two, there was a massive power outage. It was only for like 48 hours for us, but I mean, that could have been really bad, but luckily the place we were staying at had backup things just in case, like of emergency and things like that. So we were good, but that is something you have to think about, especially too, like when it comes to dealing with hurricanes. I mean, it's going to come in handy that you have these things.
Right now we're in our first Hurricane Fiona, and we just turned the generator on for the first time, as you see. So look how dark it is. We out there. So we are surviving. We have water, we got power, we got food, we got family, we got a lot of love. So thank you guys who sent in the love. Service is down right now. We just lost water pressure, and we lost cell phone service to communicate at the moment. But we are good, we're safe. Love you guys.
I'm also too looking into getting a portable shower, like one of those showers like you just pop up, and they have some that even heat up and they're solar powered. So I'm thinking about getting one of those because like I said, sometimes the water goes out. So I feel like it would be really cool to just have one on standby so that we can just use that and it still feels like, like you're still taking a regular shower. And I know I mentioned hurricanes, so I know some of y'all are probably freaking out right now. Hurricanes do happen here in Puerto Rico as well as earthquakes. I would say earthquakes, I haven't been in one that was crazy here since I've been living here. I just try to avoid the water after I've heard that there was an earthquake, like the beach. I just try not to go to the beach. As far as a hurricane, hurricanes are kind of interesting because I'm from California, so I'm used to earthquakes. But I don't know nothing about no hurricanes. All right. So when I moved here, I thought hurricanes were like you had a lot of time and you knew it was going to happen. But hurricanes are kind of weird in the fact that they are kind of predictable, but they also have this kind of unpredictability to them as well, if that makes sense. So you could be looking at something and it could say, oh, there is a storm coming. It's a tropical storm. And then next you know that tropical storm will turn into like a cat 2 or 3 hurricane. You're like, it was just a tropical storm 3 days ago. So that is something you do need to be aware of. And another thing is too, because we thought, oh, like if a hurricane comes, we just get on a plane and leave. Sometimes because it is kind of unpredictable and it's not a realistic thing unless you really have resources to think that like just getting up and leaving is really something that you're going to do every time. You're just probably not. You're probably just going to only leave as long as it's like something that's going to be really bad. But like people like us who have businesses here, it is hard for us to just get up and leave. So the last couple of hurricanes that have came through while we are living here, we just toughed it out, roughed it out, just like everybody else. Just like everybody else. And one interesting thing I can say about Puerto Ricans is that they are so resilient. You would sometimes not even know that there was a storm because they will just be out the next day, real normal. And one thing that is really cool that I've noticed a lot of people do is they do come together like family. Like one of our neighbors, they probably don't know, I'll be looking at them at the window. And every time a hurricane comes, they whole family be up in that house, and it's so cute. Like they be loud as heck, but I love it. I'm like, oh, the camaraderie is so beautiful, family all together. But I would say one thing to consider too is you want to make sure that when you're looking for an apartment, that you're not picking a place that's in a flood zone. And if it is, try to make sure you're not on the bottom level. right? Okay, you want to give yourself some time, some space from the water because floods here are real. And when I say flood zones, this is the thing too. So if you're looking to find a place, you're going to want to do this. The place you're looking at, if it gets some heavy rain, you want to drive over there and go see what it look like. Because some of these places don't even have to be a hurricane. It could be 10 minutes of rain and it will already start flooding. Okay. Because the infrastructure here is bad. I could get all into the nitty gritty of it is, but you can look it up. So now this is when we get into the real. All right. We're about to get into this Gringo go home. And I kind of already put y'all up on game to let you know that it is a real thing here. And you do need to be aware of that. But I want to make it clear too, when you're walking around in your normal everyday life, people are not going to be yelling in your face, Gringo, go home. But as I stated earlier, you do have to be mindful of how people are treating you and the assumptions they make because of you coming from the States. And this is even for people who are also Puerto Rican who are coming from the States. Because that was the one thing that was probably most eye opening for me is the fact that, like, this anti American sentiment also is given to other Puerto Ricans who just were born in the States, that you are an outsider to them. And if people are radicalized like that, that is really what's in them. And the one thing I don't like, because you guys, I did a whole video how we were doxxed by Gringo Go Home. And this is the one thing that I don't like. It's like you can't just take people's identity and assume who they are as a person. You can't see what kind of program unless they are in a literally like a white supremacist group or something like that. You can't be like, oh, you're in this program, so that means you're doing this. Like, are you slow? Like, genuinely, are you slow? And I will say that there's a lot of conclusions that people draw, especially when it comes to being online, because Gringo Go Home is really an online radicalized group. So just be aware of that. Like I was saying earlier, that these people who are online, they are real human beings. I mean, I think some of them are bots, but that's a whole different conversation. But some of them are real human beings, and you might actually be in community with them. So that is everything you need to know before moving here to Puerto Rico. A reminder that this is a series that we have, an ongoing series. I actually should make a playlist specifically for this. I'm definitely about to do that right now. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to make a playlist so you have all those videos, because this really gets tapped into the questions that our subscribers ask us. That's how we have built this series. The people who asked us these questions, I'm going to put their names and their channels up here on the screen for you guys to check them out. One of them do have a YouTube channel that is active and they're posting videos, so be sure to go check out their page. But thank you guys for your comments that you submitted. If you're somebody who's watching and you have some questions, you can leave them in the comment section, or you can hit me up on Instagram. You'll be able to get all that in our description box. Everything in the description, everything in the pinned comment. You know what to do. You know what to do. And I just want to remind you, if you haven't done so already, be sure to hit that like button. And if you're feeling spicy, hype it up. That's how you get it going in the algorithm. Let YouTube know that you like my videos and you're messing with me. Let it go. Let's go. And if you like this video, you're most certainly about to like this one. And until next time, stay beautiful, stay blessed, stay black. This is Jade, and you're watching Get Into the Black. Bye-bye.